Welcome back. In part one of Dark Forces in Entertainment, we established the pattern. We showed you the academic research confirming that Illuminati theories about celebrities are widespread and taken very seriously. We documented the occult symbolism displayed by artists like Jay-Z. We connected the dots between the pastor's warning about Kanye sacrificing his mother and Kanye's own words, "My mama was sacrificed." And we showed how major entertainment events have normalized occult imagery for mainstream audiences. But we ended with the crucial question: if this is really a coordinated effort, who's coordinating it? Tonight, we're going to answer that question. We're going to introduce you to the puppet masters, the mysterious figures who work behind the scenes to guide celebrity careers and shape entertainment content. We're going to explore the technology they use to monitor and control not just celebrities, but audiences. And we're going to examine how this system operates on a global scale. Because understanding the pattern is just the beginning. Understanding who's behind the pattern, that's where things get really disturbing.
This is Cryptic Accounts. By paranoid people. For paranoid people. Cryptic Accounts.
Welcome to Cryptic Accounts, a podcast by paranoid people for paranoid people. I'm Patrick Ryan. This is Dennis Cheney. Thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate you. We see the likes, we see the shares, we see the subscribes. We appreciate it. If you're not doing that, please be doing that, because if you're listening, we need that help, because as you know, if you've been here for a little while, this stuff gets pushed down really hard and we could use the help and we appreciate it. So write a review, do all the things, all the places. Follow us on social media for even more content. Instagram, it's Cryptic Accounts Clips. TikTok is just Cryptic Accounts. Facebook is Cryptic Accounts. And Twitter is @AccountsCryptic. And if you'd like to support the show monetarily, as some viewers and listeners have been doing, shout out to Mike and Susanna. We appreciate the donation. Helps us out a lot. So if you're able to pitch in, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
We are completely crowdfunded and out of our own pockets. We don't have any big backers that are pushing the show forward. So we could use you to be those backers. But if nothing else, liking, sharing, subscribing, leaving comments, interacting with us like that helps immensely too. So we appreciate you all very much. And with that, hi, Dennis.
Hello.
You were in the middle of a drink and I didn't want to interrupt it when I introduced you.
That's fine. Wow, ready to be even more creeped out.
Oh, it gets worse.
Yeah, go check out part 1 if you haven't already. It got me, man. It got me thinking. I've been thinking all this week. I've been avoiding the media a little more.
Probably a good call. Honestly, I consume so much. Like, the further I delve into this topic, it makes me, like, I don't listen to the same music anymore. Like, I'm much more careful about, like, what I watch. Because I, like, it's almost like a veil has kind of been lifted with it, of just, like, I see so much of it so many places, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yep, we're continuing our long-term plan of becoming a 2-person cult. It doesn't.
I mean, I already think of us like that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
We should probably, like, open it up to the general public. Maybe we could get some members.
It was Mike and Susanna. Join our cult. Give the rest of your money.
Oh, no, we do appreciate that. If you want to support the show, it's crypticaccounts.com. Support the show tab. It's just that Cryptic Accounts / support the show if you want to go there directly, but it's right there at the top of the page.
You know what it goes to? This stuff.
The bandwidth to make it
the
appear places.
mixer. Yeah, putting it on iTunes.
Yes.
We are not rich people. It goes right back into the show. It
Yes.
goes right back into the show.
Yeah, there's
You ain't going to see us with big gold chains on because you donated. You're just going to see more content.
Yes, that's all it's going to do, because yeah, we are definitely, this is cost money to do. Yeah, to recoup the cost would be amazing.
That would be
honestly.
incredible.
That's the goal.
To get to 0. We'd
Yeah.
be very happy.
Looking to get out of the red on Cryptic Accounts is what we're saying. But yeah, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go. I'm
dig-
excited to see who is behind this.
Oh man. Well, there's some names that are gonna pop up that we've talked about before, and then there's some new ones that we haven't. But we're going to start right off and get into one that if you've been listening for a while, you're very aware of who she
Oh,
is.
I bet I know. Is it? Can I say it?
You can guess.
Marina Abramović.
It is Marina Abramović. Abramović. Yes, we did a whole episode on her a few years ago. She's still at it, the spirit cooking, all that stuff. Definitely, if you want a deeper dive into her, like we're going to touch on her for a little bit here, but to really understand who she is and what she's doing, go find that episode, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, everywhere you're listening. And that was the title of the episode, was just Marina Abramović. So, if you want to truly understand who's pulling the strings in the entertainment industry, a good place to start is Marina Abramović. As we've talked about before, she's now a 78-year-old Serbian performance artist who has become one of the most influential figures in celebrity occult circles. And her story reveals just how deep these connections go. So, as a brief recap, Abramović gained notoriety in conspiracy circles for her spirit cooking performances. These controversial art pieces involve the use of pig's blood and other bodily fluids in ritualistic settings. But here's what makes her significant: it's not just the art itself, it's who participates in those ceremonies.
Yeah.
And we've covered it, like Abramović's connections to high-profile celebrities and politicians have led many to believe she's a key figure in introducing occult practices to the elite. Back to something we've talked about, her 2010 performance piece, The Artist in Present, at the Museum of Modern Art.
Which I saw.
Did you see this?
I lived in New York at the time and I went and I looked at her. I did not sit down.
Really?
Yes, big line to sit with her.
I don't think you mentioned that last time we talked about her.
Really?
Maybe you did. I don't know. I should have gone back and listened to that episode in its entirety. But she sat silently across from museum visitors for over 700 hours, which the question that came to my mind was, where's she going to the bathroom at?
Yeah. I think they might have had people. I don't know. I didn't see that part.
I mean, how
Either she might have just been in resident when it was open. I mean, the museum does close.
Still though, so she was doing like 8 to 12-hour shifts?
Might have been wearing a diaper. Yeah, probably. I'm sure she took breaks, but
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, it was. Yeah, it is weird. There's all kinds of. I'll see TikTok clips to this day of her doing that.
And it was seen, and I think we covered this. It was seen as like a form of ritualistic energy harvesting
Ooh, I didn't think of that.
based on other things she does. But not maybe the weirdest thing about her, but one that's a little odd to see is her relationship with Lady Gaga.
Mm-hmm.
This really opened people's eyes to what's happening. Gaga has participated in Abramović's performances, art workshops, and photos from these sessions are deeply disturbing. They show Gaga and other participants engaging in what can only be described as occult rituals, complete with symbolic imagery and ritualistic behavior. So the artist's use of satanic imagery in her work isn't subtle. Pentagrams, goat heads, inverted crosses, these aren't just provocative artistic choices, they're deliberate references to occult symbolism that has deep spiritual significance. When Abramović says, quote, the artist has to be a warrior, she's not talking about fighting for creative freedom. She's talking about spiritual warfare. What makes Abramović particularly dangerous...
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're an artist, but like, gotta be a warrior. Like, what are you warring against? What are you?
The stuff she just does, I guess. To me, the weirdest part of her is the politicians, but I'm sure we're gonna do it.
Well, I mean, we're gonna rehash that a little bit because that is something we talked about on the first episode.
Two weirdo artists hanging out to me. Yeah, I know they're doing satanic stuff, but why is there an advisor to the White House at a spirit cooking? You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
What does that have to do with it?
Yep.
Yeah.
What makes Abramović particularly dangerous is her ability to present occult practices as high art. By framing these rituals as performance art, she is able to introduce celebrities and wealthy elites to occult practices without them necessarily understanding what they're participating in. It's a form of spiritual grooming that operates under the cover of artistic expression. The leaked emails that we talked about from Joe Podesta's account in 2016 revealed invitations to Abramović's spirit cooking dinners, attended by political and entertainment figures. While mainstream media dismissed these as art events, the ritualistic nature of the activities and the high profile guest list suggest something more significant was happening. Abramović's influence extended far beyond individual celebrities. She's been involved in major art installations and cultural events worldwide, always incorporating the same occult themes and symbolic imagery. Her work serves as a bridge between the art world and the entertainment industry, introducing occult practices to influential figures who then carry these themes into their own work. But Abramović isn't the only handler operating in celebrity circles. There's another figure who's been dubbed as the secret witch handler of the music industry.
Oh.
And her story is even more disturbing.
Can I break in here about spirit cooking?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the Beatles album cover with the dead babies?
No.
Okay, I'm going to show you this. I thought this was fake. I actually saw a copy of this being sold at a thrift store the other day.
What album?
I don't know if it's an album or like a single cut. It's the Beatles yesterday and today,
Okay.
but it has them with like these dolls, but then the dolls are torn apart and then there's like meat and blood parts.
Oh, what
I will
is going on there?
I will text you this so you can put it up. But this is what I always think of when I think of spirit cooking, because that's what it is. Like you're eating like broken, like nasty. Yeah, I never think of the Beatles. I don't know what their message is. Maybe I'm doing them wrong. Sorry, Sir Paul, but like maybe it was some kind of pro life message. I have no idea. But it just seems that has always, when I found out about that, has
I
always
don't
stood
think
out.
that was a pro-life message.
I know. I know. So this has been going on for a lot longer.
I don't know.
That was literally like I believe the mid 60s.
Yeah. And they were just toy dolls. I don't know why that's so disturbing, but
It's real meat, and it might have been real blood.
that's and they just look so happy.
Yeah, it was 1966, so that was 60 years ago.
That I don't I don't know what to think about that. That was weird.
Sorry.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I know it hurts me because I'm a Beatles fan, but like
I am too, and that was weird to look at.
it's a very strange choice for them. And
Yes.
here's another thing about spirit cooking. My last little side about this: there are UFO people who claim that the Greys get nutrients by taking baths in like human goo.
Really?
Yeah, so and I'll collaborate this in the future. It might be part of the next episode I put together, but there are people who, one, there's a lot of abductions in the 50s right after the contract with Eisenhower, where they'd find like a crashed UFO and there'd be like just mutilated bodies.
Yes.
Okay. But then there's people who, when they are in the labs with like the clones and the fetuses and stuff, they say that the way they get their nutrients, they'll even say that they'll even tell the people is that they'll like get it through their skin by taking these baths, and like the baths are just like literally what you would think hell would be like. Like imagine that Beatles picture, but it's like a hot tub that's like just that, like a blended human soup, and that is if they're really doing that, that's spirit cooking.
I mean, if you
That's what that is.
I mean, I will pull up the old images to put in the blog and everything. Oh yeah, if you don't know that these are all going up, everything that's going in our show research is on the website as well. I think it's just show research. You can see everything we've talked about. If you want to explore it further.
But that goes back to my point I made. I don't know if it's aired yet. The Nephilim episode.
Yeah, it has.
Where I was saying that their ways aren't our ways, but they try to teach us their ways.
Yes.
So spirit cooking is the type of thing, like a demonic. If that's how they get their nutrients or whatever, is by harvesting energy and fear and like just human gore, then like it makes sense that they would teach people like this to do it. And then she would bring politicians in, and
Powerful
then
people, yeah.
and then next thing you know, you've given direct access to these entities to like powerful people.
Yes.
Anyway, that's my aside.
Oh, that was.
Yeah, it's oddly disturbing for something from 1966.
Yeah, it really is. And it just adds another layer to this whole.
Yeah, 60 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, moving along,
Okay.
because I don't know where to go from there with that, but to try and creep you out in return.
Okay.
Are you aware of Michelle Lamy?
No.
I should have put a picture in so I could show it to
Should
you.
I Google it?
You can.
How do you spell her last name?
I think I'm already there.
Okay.
So let me pull this up and I'll spin around and let you take a look at this.
Ew.
Did you pull her up already?
They always look like that.
Yes. So yeah, that's her.
Okay. There's her eating a human heart or something.
Yeah. Her fingers are always black. Her teeth are black. Yeah, that's Michelle Lamy. She's 80 years old.
Still going strong.
Yeah.
She looks like straight up if you were gonna make a
That's a
movie
nice picture
like
of her,
an
actually.
evil-
There's much worse pictures.
if you were gonna make like an evil witch for a movie.
Those are still mild. Yeah, that's getting better. Now we're getting in the right direction.
Just don't name me the anti-muse. Ew. Ew. That's the whole thing we were talking about in part one. Why does it always go one way? Ew, I don't like that. Yeah, no, I'm not. So tell me her part in this.
Take a look at that.
It's stuff you would see in a hellish nightmare.
Yes. So,
Nobody wants to
what
look at.
I guess is, since you have no idea, what do you think her profession is?
I mean, I guess modern artist. I don't know.
Not far off. She's a fashion designer
Okay.
and a restaurateur.
A
Because,
restaurant.
I mean,
Oh,
when you
there's-
think
oh,
about
that body
fine
part.
dining and going out to eat,
Ugh.
you think of that lady
Yeah, I want
as
her.
like, get those fingers in my food. I'm down with that. So she's been called the secret witch handler of the music industry. Her unconventional appearance with tattooed fingertips and blackened teeth has contributed to her mystique. But it's her connection to major hip hop artists that make her very significant. So
Saw some pictures in that Google image.
80 years old, down with the rappers.
How odd.
Lammy's close relationship with numerous celebrities, particularly in the rap world, has raised serious questions about her role in the industry. So she's been photographed with all kinds of artists, including the Migos, A$AP Rocky, and a ton of other like major figures. All have pictures. You see her on red carpets with them. Always like right up in their ear too. Like there's a lot of like pictures and videos of where she's like all over these guys and like whispering in their ear.
Are they like wearing her fashion during this?
I'm not sure about that even,
I
honestly.
usually don't think of male artists as being the fashion people.
I mean, they're definitely, that is the thing though.
Oh yeah.
But these aren't just celebrity, like random casual celebrities encounters. The photos suggest ongoing relationships and mentorship roles that go far beyond normal industry connections. Her husband, fashion designer Rick Owens, is known as the Dark Prince of Fashion, which you want to like Google him real quick and just some of his
What's
stuff.
his name?
Rick Owens.
Okay.
And he's got some of the most disturbing like fashion show stuff that happens. Like, I don't know if you'll get it by pulling up his name, but man, like,
He looks like a male her.
yes, he does, and just creepy.
Yeah, looks like some stuff out of Dune or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
So their fashion shows, which is what I'm talking about, often show dark gothic themes that incorporate satanic imagery. But it's Lammy's individual relationship with musicians that is most concerning. She seems to target young, successful artists and develops close personal relationships with them. Lammy's background in the Parisian nightclub scene and her eclectic interest in boxing and art have led some to speculate that she's a conduit between different worlds: entertainment, fashion, and the occult.
Mm-hmm.
Her ability to move between these circles and develop intimate relationships with influential figures suggests a level of coordination and purpose that goes beyond casual networking. What's particularly disturbing about Lammy is she's been able to operate largely under the radar. While Marina Abramovic's activities are at least documented and discussed, Lammy's influence has been much more subtle and hidden. Like, you don't hear a lot about
No, I would have
things.
thought I would have heard about her.
Yeah, she just really started popping up as this. I would say in the last like couple years, like people have been noticing that she's at places all the time, and she's seen with all these artists, and she gets photographed with them. Like I don't know if it was suppressed or just nobody noticed or thought it was a big deal, or maybe they just thought she was gross, so they didn't put her on anything.
I think people just didn't talk about stuff like this. Maybe some preachers,
Yeah,
but I think in culture, like until shows like this, and I think this just isn't a common discussion that's been out there.
I think you're right. I think with the internet, this is all getting a lot more
It's easy.
exposed.
It's easy, yeah, because if you mostly just hang out at the Parisian nightlife scene and rich rappers, and you're just kind of this ugly old lady, like, you're probably not going to be in People magazine a lot, like, because people aren't going to want to buy that magazine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Like as she becomes like in like personal relationships with these artists begin to develop, and like they get seen with her, they tend to, and this is pretty widespread across any artist that you can find that she's like noticeably like connected to. They start becoming much more dark, and then they start like putting occult concepts and practices into like their shows, their videos, like the things they wear. Like it's like they're being influenced in that direction.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the fact that an 80-year-old woman with such an unconventional appearance has developed close relationships with these people is also very like it's just weird. Like they don't seem like natural friendships or business relationships. They seem like some sort of stoking in the right direction
Yeah, it seems
or the
almost like
wrong
a
direction.
mentorship
Yes.
almost.
So both Abramovic and Lammy represent a type of handler that operates in celebrity circles, older, experienced figures who use their knowledge of occult practices to influence and control younger and more successful entertainers. They provide a bridge between the occult world and the mainstream entertainment, gradually introducing celebrities to practices and beliefs that then influence their artistic output.
I mean, that makes total sense though, because if you're in this weird insular rich people satanic world and you're always trying to find new talent, like the odds of you finding like a bunch of Satanist pop and rap stars is like very low. Like you're gonna take the people you think you can mold. So
Yes,
it makes sense to have people like this who it's like, what's her name again?
Michelle Lammy.
Lammy. It makes sense to be like, oh, you gotta meet Lammy, and then she's like almost like a advisor,
Yeah,
almost
like
like,
here's how we can take your career to the next level.
oh yeah.
And it turns out it's like signing the deal with the devil.
Ugh.
So the handler system is just one part of a much larger control mechanism. Because in the digital age, the tools for monitoring and controlling both celebrities and audiences have become far more sophisticated and pervasive. So while figures like Abramovic and Lammy represent the traditional handler model, the entertainment industry's control mechanisms have evolved to include sophisticated technological surveillance and manipulation systems. Understanding these modern methods is crucial to grasping how the industry controls and operates in this new digital age. So, celebrity social media accounts are rarely actually managed by the celebrities themselves. Most major stars employ teams of social media managers, publicists, and brand consultants who control their online presence. This means that what appears to be personal communication from celebrities is often carefully crafted messaging designed to maintain specific public personas and promote particular agendas. But it goes deeper than that. Industry contacts now routinely include clauses allowing labels and studios to monitor celebrities' private communications, financial transactions, and even physical location through smartphone tracking.
Yeah, I believe it.
This level of surveillance ensures that industry figures can intervene quickly if celebrities begin to deviate from approved messaging or behavior.
That's just so sad to me.
Yeah, it's you have everything, but you're in a cage.
Well, then we wonder why these people like Britney or Justin Bieber like freak out, start acting like schizo. It's like you're literally living in a like a demonic daycare
Yes.
where they're monitoring your every move, and then you look on Twitter and it's like it's your account and it's saying things that you never said, and then you're getting hate for it or love for it. Like that would drive anybody insane.
Yeah, that would be really, yeah, that'd be
And
weird.
there's no way out because you've signed this
Yep.
deal. Uh,
Yeah, they can ruin you.
yeah.
Like they made you and now they can break you and they
If
have to
nothing,
just,
you're their avatar.
yes, kind of. Yeah.
You're their avatar, and they'll find someone else. It's like, well, who's it? Timberland. He's doing AI artist now.
Mm-hmm.
He's moving into it. I watch a lot of music stuff on YouTube, and I was just watching something like a month ago about, well, one, we did a show about how like gangster rap was like partially the CIA and stuff, like
Yes.
to push drugs. And I was watching this thing about 80s hair metal. They're interviewing people who were like up and coming, and they're interviewing these guys who were like Sunset Strip artists, and they were playing, like White Snake stuff and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And they were approached by the industry, and were like, one band was approached, and they're like, "You got 1 year." They're like, "We're giving you this deal. You got 1 year." They're like, "After that year, you ditch the denim, you ditch the hair, you're going grunge." Like they had like pre-planned grunge,
Mm-hmm.
like years in advance, to the
Yep.
point where the people on the cutting edge were being told like, you get 1 year to make this album works, and the next one has to be dark because we got some stuff in the pipeline. And like they did that too with jazz, and they'll do that with certain things, like moving things toward away from bands more towards like individual artists and stuff, because it's easier to control and the contracts are easier and stuff. And it's like it's always been a control system, so this is just the next logical step.
Yeah. So the psychological impact of this technological control cannot be understated. Celebrities live under constant surveillance, knowing that their every move is monitored and that stepping out of line could result in career destruction. This creates a form of psychological conditioning that ensures compliance even without explicit threats. The rise of artificial intelligence in content creation has introduced new possibilities for manipulation. AI can now generate realistic videos, audio recordings, and social media posts that are virtually indistinguishable from authentic content. This technology could be used to create false evidence of celebrity statements or behaviors, or to generate content that appears to come from celebrities but actually serves industry interests.
Drive a person insane.
Oh, that would drive you
Yeah.
insane.
You're just like a guy or a girl likes to play your guitar, and then you're like, oh wow, a record contract, and then next thing you know, they got you like dating someone you don't know, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Perhaps the most disturbing development is how these same technologies are being used to manipulate audiences. Social media platforms use algorithmic systems to determine which content gets promoted and which gets suppressed. And whew, that one hit kind of close to home. I mean, to be honest with you, as watching this show and engagement and
We've had private conversations. I am a full believer they do not like independent voices.
no,
They cannot control you. They cannot market you the same as something they control.
it's weird. I mean, we can watch on, I'll call it out, TikTok, how a video will spike and the next one on the same subject,
They'll kill it.
they'll kill it, and then we'll get punished for like several videos, and then we'll get one that spikes.
It's because views for them are money. So they got to control their product.
Yes, and we are a product on there.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Which is why I think, like, little inside base, I think that's why, like, putting these as blogs and creating more spaces that we control
Yeah.
is probably the way to go. Just because if it's our thing, there's not really anybody that can stop it from happening.
Right. Well, think about it. You get okay, TikTok. The primary TikTok activity is a trending song with a trending, it's trending audio
Mm-hmm.
with a trending either a dance or blah blah blah. So think about, okay, if you're in the market of selling that product, okay, what does that offer you? Okay, you could be like, this audio, this song, we're promoting that, so we're gonna make it. We're gonna promote anyone who does this vapid little stupid dance where you go like this and we play this soundtrack, or even some of the songs it's attached to a meme. You're like yes but no, you know what I mean, like it's something, but like what they're doing is they're promoting that audio and they're using you as part of that like bigger product. But if you just go on there and you start posting videos, not saying nobody blows up or anything, but like if you just go on there and you start saying, speaking your mind about stuff, way like going to be way less promotion because they can't control you. They can't control what you're going to say in the next
Well, they
video.
don't. Yeah, I think that's a big problem with us. Our topics vary so much too that who knows what the next video is going to be about.
And it's all about money. Okay, I'll throw somebody out there in case you think this is sour grapes. Flesh Simulator,
Mm-hmm.
big time creator on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Used to be big on like I think he got his start on like TikTok, making conspiracy stuff. He recently put out like maybe a couple months ago a thing about how he is dang sure he's shadow banned on TikTok.
Yeah.
And he could prove it. And one of the things he did to prove it was he created a brand new account and he posted the same video on both accounts. And one of them had like 100,000 followers. That's his main account. And the other one's like nobody. And the one that has like 100,000 followers, that video topped out at like 10,000 views or something
Mm-hmm.
and stopped. And then the one with no followers, where they don't know who he is yet, that first video on the channel, identical, got like a couple 100,000, I want to say, because that's the quality of the content. But once
They had
they
to
know
figure it
you're
out.
paid, they didn't know who it was
Yeah.
first. They haven't figured out how to categorize you. But once they categorize you, you're in a jail. Even if you are very successful like him at getting your eyes out and you're very good at making videos. So it even affects people who have undeniable track records of success, undeniable audiences. They will throttle you. And part of it is the control, and part of it is the money, because the way these creator programs work is like they kind of have to pay you out if you get a certain amount of views and
Yep.
stuff. Okay, so if this guy should be getting 1 million per video, but they throttle him down to 10,000,
Yep.
less money. And then you shift that money over to the girl who goes,
Yeah, and if you're not aware, like if you go into like TikTok create, like they will show you what the dance move is. Like there's actually
that's what it tells you. If you talk to TikTok and you're like, how do I get more views? They'll be like, here it is.
yep, do
They
this.
just tell you.
Yeah, do this dance to this song. Here, we'll walk you through it.
It's
Do
no
this.
mystery. Instagram does it too.
Yep.
Meta does it.
Yep.
If you kind of bitch to it and you complain and you say, why am I not getting? Why am I in view jail? Like they got frequently asked question pages about it, and they'll take you straight up, and they'll just show you videos of people doing that dance.
Yep.
And they'll be like, there you go.
Do this.
They just tell you, so it's not even a secret.
You know, as much as I hate it, I've really thought about doing one on this channel just to prove a point,
Yeah.
to see if then it spikes other videos around it.
So on my personal page, I have occasionally jumped. I've never done a dance. I refuse to do a dance. I'm not your monkey, but I will occasionally pop in. I'll look at the trending topics, and I'll pop in with some rage bait or something about it. And you know what I find? Do that 16 view thing.
It hits you with that.
Because usually I just do like my own humor and stuff. If I try to do a joke, if I just do a random joke, I'll be like in regular view jail. I'll get like 1,000, maybe. If I'm like, oh, Jennifer Aniston is like the number one topic, I'll do a joke about Jennifer Aniston. They'll show it to like 20 people. So it has no legs. They give it no legs because that's not what the trend is for.
Oh,
The trend is for you to do the thing that they want you to do with the trend.
I popped out. So there was last month, there was the Annabelle.
Yep.
Like might be loose, might be causing terror in New Orleans. It was trending all over everywhere. So I did a solo because I wanted to get it out that fast. I was like, I'm going to put something together. I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk about it. One of our lowest views on TikTok. And it was in the middle of everybody hyping that whole thing happening. And I was kind of debunking it. Like, this is what's happening. Like, if you watch that whole episode.
That's
like,
not what the trend is for. The trend is for a specific scary sound that you put behind there with a specific
Well, I'm noticing that with and we've gone off the rails, but I mean, I think this is interesting, and it's definitely something we're dealing with on a very regular basis with this. Like the ways I'm seeing other shows like ours try and work around it. And I don't even want to say the ways 'cause I don't want to put them on blast and have
A
the
lot of
algorithm
spooky
somehow.
music,
It's mute. It is. It's one person talking with with music playing with it, and I don't know if that's confusing the algorithm.
or it's essentially becoming a reaction channel where you show clips of other interviews.
But they're not even showing it. Like I'm trying to think of the name of the channel, but it's the guy I send you all the time that has sunglasses. He's always real on point with what's going on in like real time.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he gets on and talks, he has like Creedence Clearwater Revival or something playing behind him.
Oh yeah, or you ever notice how like you'll look at the description of a video and the video will be like some random sketch, and then the description will be like the BMW 900 is
Yes, there's a lot of that.
Yes, it's a whole big game, and I'm not saying quality of content doesn't have anything to do with it. I'm not trying to just sit here and whine, but
No.
like, I think the way the gist of the way everything goes is it's what they can control. Because if you get on there and you talk about Annabelle, but you're not using the sounds and you're not using the spooky voiceover clip thing that they use, and you're not like showing this, it's it's not what they're trying to market.
I mean,
And it makes me upset because with conspiracy stuff, dude, okay, a lot of conspiracy stuff deals with video and audio.
yes.
It might be voice like we had on that possession episode, audio like that. It might be video of a UFO. There might be video of like there's something in the trees. Could it be a Bigfoot? And then the creators have to put this freaking soundtrack over it
Yes.
that makes it hard to even you don't you can't even tell what's the soundtrack and that's what annoys me about like ghost shows online.
Yes.
Is it's like these people are in the house with video recorders and tape recorders, and their whole point of the show is I'm trying to find ghosts, and there's so much spooky music playing and like spooky Halloween sound effects that it's like you don't even know if that's happening in the room or if that's what the producers added. Like
Yep.
it defeats the whole purpose.
Yep.
But I think that's my whole point. It's like the spooky stuff on TV, that's what they want for content like this online.
Well, and it's almost seeming like, and it's something we've been talking about, and like we may need to pull back a little bit so that we can do higher.
Come at it from a different,
Come at all this from a different
because I
angle.
don't want to become that. I don't want to become the. It's just it's just a big show. Like I think there's other ways to do it, but I guess to go back to your point with the satanic stuff, it's it's all about it's all about marketable control.
Yes.
It just so happens that they also want you to worship Satan.
We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So if that's the line, I'll take my minimum amount of views and a small loyal audience that follows us.
But think about the last episode, the first part one. Go back and watch it if you haven't. Part one, we kind of came to a conclusion that regardless of the spiritual implications, going anti-Christian and going darker is a lazier, easier way of marketing content, remember?
Well, it's almost like you're going along with the thing that controls this world
Yeah.
currently so that it
Yeah.
works because it promotes it.
It works because it promotes it, and you don't get the backlash.
No.
You don't, yeah.
Oh, the amount of personal backlash that I've gotten since. Okay, so if you've been with this show for a while, you can see over since we've been back this year, there has been a shift. I wouldn't say an actual shift, but a more direct. You know where we stand on a lot of things that we were a lot more, I think, tongue in cheek about in the past.
Mhm.
Like we would hint at things and we would mention it every once in a while. We've been a lot more overt in our direction and what we're trying to do with this show
About our opinions and
about how we feel, and not just how we feel, our convictions
yes.
and what we believe to be true, what we know is true, and the amount of backlash in my personal life that I've like. There's people
I've
that,
seen it.
oh yeah, I get nasty messages from people that called me friend because of the direct, more Christian content that we do.
I've gotten. I don't know. I haven't talked to you, but I've gotten. I'd say 2, maybe 3, depending on how you take it. But I've gotten personal texts and stuff online about the show.
Really.
Yeah.
You care to go into any more detail than that?
Well, just more of a less of a are you people who wouldn't be our audience but would be a friend in real life or
Yeah.
know me through comedy or stuff like people who wouldn't generally bring it up
Yep.
are aware,
Yep.
are acutely aware that we've shifted. And I've gotten people say, I'll tell you later, but I've gotten people who have been more aggressive for anti or snarky
Yep.
or yeah,
Oh, I get a lot of snark.
yeah, yeah.
I get a lot.
It's a lot of snark, but that's the reason why it's lazier not to do it this way because when you keep it, oh, it's just me grinding on the devil. It's just like you can. The only people who can complain are Christians, and you can be like hypocrisy, blah 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 blah, and then the whole rest of the world. You got the whole rest of the world. That's why it's a lazier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's we're not gonna quit doing it. So, and if anything, it's gonna get more of this. So.
Oh, yeah. Sorry for was such an aside, but yeah.
No, it is like we've. Honestly, it hasn't really derailed me at all because this speaks into everything that I'm talking about right here, which is the algorithms that manipulate and ensure that certain messages reach large audiences while others are effectively censored. TikTok and Instagram's algorithms, like we've talked about, have been designed to be highly addictive, potentially putting users into a trance like state. And at this point, this stuff's coming out in studies that, like, this is what's happening to kids at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The state of heightened suggestibility makes users more susceptible to subliminal messaging and occult symbolism. The rapid fire nature of content on these platforms, particularly TikTok and others at this point, short form videos, creates a form of digital hypnosis. The constant stream of information overloads the brain, potentially making it more receptive to embedded messages. Some theorists believe that viral challenges and trends on these platforms are actually, and I don't know that you've ever thought about this, they're actually designed rituals.
Ooh, interesting.
So, for example, because I know some people are like, what do you mean it's just a dance? Do you guys remember the Skull Breaker challenge on TikTok?
First of all, one of the first viral trends
Yep.
on YouTube
Yep.
was the Holy Spirit thing.
Wait, what? Go on, tell me about that. I'm not aware of this.
I want to say 6 or 7 years ago, one of the first short form video viral trends before there was, back when maybe, before there was a TikTok, before there was a, people were, one of the first trends was the blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. You can Google this, the unforgivable sin. Which I don't believe this is what the unforgivable sin is. But
no, we can get into that. We don't gotta get into
but
that.
if you Google YouTube unforgivable sin trend, one of the first trends was these kids would get on and make a short 20-30 second video where they'd be like the Holy Spirit. Like
Really?
yes. And that was one of the first before Instagram had videos like they do now, before the short term, before YouTube Shorts, before TikTok. That was one of the first things I remember where people were doing minute or shorter videos, and it was a trend.
Wow. No, I was not aware of that.
And I think it was thousands and thousands of people. I've even seen big time preachers talk about it.
Huh. So yeah, I guess this is in that vein then of just the Skullbreaker challenge was seen as covert occult practice to cause harm to participants.
What was it?
Oh man,
remember the punching someone randomly challenge?
There was that.
There was like chokeout game. There was I mean, I guess the hot chip, if you want
to. There was the hot chip. So the Skullbreaker challenge was a dangerous viral trend that originated on TikTok, causing them. So participants would be tricked into jumping into the air while others kicked their legs out from under them, causing them to fall and potentially suffer serious injuries such as concussions and skull fractures, or even long-term health consequences.
So if you have millions of people doing that, that is kind of like a ritual.
A little bit.
It's like a little mini sacrifice.
Yeah, it gained significance in early 2020, so right as something started.
Yeah.
Which also did a bunch of damage on so many different levels, with reports of multiple teenagers being hospitalized after participating in that prank. In one case, a 13-year-old boy in New Jersey was seriously injured and hospitalized after being part of the challenge, leading to criminal charges against two other minors involved. and then a bunch of other stuff happened in different states. So yeah, serious head injuries, concussions, and intracranial bleeding happen a lot with that.
I don't know. Are you going to talk about the nurses?
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. We could talk about that. No,
I think that is a form of ritual.
um,
Because you literally have the people in the place where people are going to their creator, and you got these people who are locked in with them, and you can't get in and see them, and then you literally have these trends where these people are like
they're doing
dancing on graves, essentially.
weird dances. I've seen compilations of that.
I don't even think I haven't seen enough of them. I've tried to block out that moment of history in my head, but like when you say TikTok ritual, that comes to mind because that is a highly odd. That'd be like a funeral home director trend where you dance with
It was like
a body.
when the it you know what, honestly, I saw a compilation, and maybe I'll throw it up in this. We'll see how motivated I am. But you can find it. I think it's the Rabbit Hole that did a compilation on it. The channel The Rabbit Hole
Okay.
did a compilation on it, but it reminded me a lot. Do you remember when we did CERN and the weird
Yes.
ritualistic dancing that happened? We got to go back because there's been another, when they reopened it, they did another one. There's been more, and then that tunnel that's right next to it did an even darker thing. Um, you know what? That may be the next episode,
I
honestly.
think the nurses, the 2020 nurses.
It was very weird to watch because they're all dressed very simple. Because I mean, it's their word, like it's their.
Yeah, and I'm not saying the nurses themselves knew what they were
No, I don't.
doing, but I do think if there's a larger plan or scheme in this world and that you're going to use these platforms for rituals, having people in ICUs where people are on ventilators and all the caretakers are dancing to some like hip hop track, like, and dude, and they're wearing the clothes of death. They're wearing the mask. They're wearing like the plague
Yep,
clothes. The modern,
yep.
it'd be. Oh, this upsets me.
Well, and I mean that goes along with, in that thought, that goes along with, they don't care if you understand. They want you to participate
Yeah,
because then that's your admission that washes them of guilt when they do things. Is we told you about it, you participated in it, you're part of it.
there's a certain callousness too that it just gets people, just like desensitizes people.
Yes. And then we move on to virtual and augmented reality technologies and all the doors that those have opened with new possibilities for immersive experiences that also can very much lead to occult participation. So, VR concerts could be used to create mass rituals where audiences unknowingly participate in occult practices. A VR recreation of a music festival could incorporate subtle occult symbolism or ritualistic movements that users mimic without understanding their significance. In that same vein of,
Uh,
I'll get you to move like this and do this dance, and you don't realize that this is some sort of a seance or witchcraft.
yeah.
You just think it's a cool dance, but really this is a weird thing that, someone would do in a ritual.
Even if, and I'm a big believer that you could. There's kind of two opposite takes to this. So I'm a big believer that doing a ritual in and of itself is significant, and that's what you think too.
Yes.
So even if you think it's like ha ha fun and games, I'm gonna play at the Ouija board, or ha ha fun and games, I'm gonna go to this Marina Abramović, like if you're going through the motions, I believe you're doing the ritual. Now, a lot of people who I've met who are like into magic, I should say, or occult things, they would almost sometimes tell you the opposite. They would say that ritual itself isn't quite as important as like the intention. But I would say it's a mixture because if the intention of starting a trend where people are dancing in an ICU is darkness, then the people going through your ritual, it's almost like you've created the tulpa, you've
Yep.
created the thought form, you've created the egregore or whatever. Um, yeah, but yeah, I'm a big believer that doing the ritual is in and of itself, sometimes even minus intention, just as important.
Yes, you're facilitating what the person who does have intention is wanting
You're
to.
being a puppet. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're a puppet.
you're a part of the intention. Whether
Yes.
you, yeah,
I mean, that's why we're supposed to be on guard.
yep.
I mean, with augmented reality filters, go ahead. Did you have something
No,
else?
no.
So we've got augmented reality features on social media now. And those can be used to subtly incorporate occult symbols into everyday life. A popular face filter might include a barely noticeable all seeing eye symbol, gradually normalizing this imagery for millions of users. Some theorists speculate that VR meditation apps could be used to guide users through occult rituals or even astral projection experiences under the guise of relaxation techniques. Which that's something, oh man, we've spun off in so many different places, and that's fine. Did we ever? So we did an episode a long time ago about astral projecting.
Yes,
Did I ever talk about what happened when I did that on the show?
I. Be-
Did we ever actually go over what happened in my house the time I tried to do that?
I don't think on the show.
Okay. I left the episode up because I stand by it, I guess, as research,
Yeah.
but I don't ever think I've come out and publicly said, don't do that. Don't do that. You're playing with something you shouldn't be playing with. And here's how I know. Because there was. So,
We both did it.
yeah.
We both did the binaural beats.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
binaural beats. I did it on like a weird bed of like this like nail compression thing,
Oh.
like on top of it that's supposed to like help you like also like decompress and all that. It's like spikes that you lay on.
Yeah.
So did it on that, did the binaural beats. I'm laying there and I can after about 5 or 10 minutes probably, I start to feel me come disconnected from my body.
Wasn't there like a vibration associated with it, kind of?
It wasn't really a vibration. It just felt like a lifting. Like I almost felt weightless. And like as
So they say a lot of people in the ritual there because they're like, oh, I don't want to fall.
there was that feeling.
Yeah.
But as I got that feeling, as I would feel myself start to lift, what kept pulling me back down is not the feeling of falling. Every time it happened, because it happened 2 or 3 times as I laid there. Every time it would happen, I would start to float and I would hear footsteps through my house. Like
Uh-oh.
somebody was coming out, like I had hardwood floors.
Oh.
I could feel the vibration and hear steps coming down my hallway. And I would drop back down. And I'd like open my eyes, look around, nobody's here.
Oh.
Okay, I'm tripping. Go back into it, start to lift, hear footsteps coming down my hallway again.
Come to abduct you.
That's honestly,
Come and get your astral body.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, with all the things you hear about possession and everything, I'm hesitant to say because I'm not exactly sure what might have happened, but it was essentially, in my comprehension, my soul was drifting away from its
Right.
vehicle,
Yeah.
and there was somebody else in my house.
Somebody was like, "Ooh, somebody dropped a Pop Tart on the
Yes,
floor."
that's
Yeah.
exactly what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like he's out.
Mm-hmm.
That vehicle is loose right now.
Some people, when they do that for the first time, that something will either audibly or they'll see something. It'll be like, no.
Really?
Yes, that's not an uncommon experience. That
We'll just tell them no.
it'll be like, you shouldn't be doing it. Like it'll like,
Oh, it'll tell them not to be doing this.
or like you should not be here, or yeah. That I take as like a divine protection thing.
I kind of think so. Like that's what that says to me, and it was just, man. If I've never come out and publicly said that, I definitely want to now. Like, don't
do it.
That was some form of almost witchcraft. I would say.
When I was trying it, I never got out. I have other experiences I'll say for other episodes, but I became, when it was working and I was getting there, I became hyper uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was.
I started feeling like this is wrong. I feel not even like a moral objection. It was just like when you're walking down a dark alley and you see a shadow and you're like, I shouldn't be here. Like it was like that feeling for me.
Yeah, it was. No, and I mean, we got into it because of all the stuff that the CIA had talked about with astral projecting and being able to see other places and other times, and like
Right.
I was curious about it.
Which I'm inclined to believe it's real.
Oh, it is real.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was definitely real. Like, had I continued with it, I don't know what would have happened.
And that's, oh my gosh, dude. That's literally, so the CIA talks about it. You have a personal experience. There's thousands, if not a million people with personal experience.
You can definitely disconnect your spirit or your soul or whatever you want to call it from your body.
That type of thing, astral projection and like taking people out of their body is exactly what like witchcraft people were accused of doing.
Yes.
So maybe they really were witches, is what I'm saying. If it's a real scientific thing, maybe they really were grabbing men up and taking them across the sky.
Mm-hmm. So, man, we've gone so many different
I
directions
know.
on this, and you know what? This is. I think everybody's going to appreciate this one. It's definitely going to be a longie. The use of AI in entertainment industry has led to theories about its potential for occult influence. AI generated music could potentially contain hidden frequencies or patterns designed to influence listeners on a subconscious level. And I don't think that's anything new with AI. Like I think that's been happening for a long time with music. That's definitely
Yeah.
as I've shifted, I will say, as I've shifted what I listen to, I've definitely noticed a difference internally.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's definitely stuff in a lot of music that's just doing things to me that I was not even aware of.
Again, speakers are so good now that like and music production. I just see no reason these companies wouldn't
Yeah.
occasionally throw in some beats, some binaural beats, or
Yeah. Oh, that's actually very common.
yeah,
Binaural beats are actually very common in a lot of pop music and stuff.
advertising maybe.
Probably that too.
There was something. There was something a few years ago where somebody was proposing a law to like ban this type of thing in movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because that was actually my next point in my
Okay.
notes
Okay.
that some theorists believe that certain pop songs contain embedded binaural beats that alter brainwaves and emotional states. Predictive algorithms used by streaming services could be programmed to subtly influence public consciousness by promoting content with occult themes or symbolism. There are concerns that AI chatbots and virtual assistants could be used to disseminate occult ideas or guide users through occult practices under the guise of personal development or entertainment. The integration of occult symbolism with these technology controls systems creates a particularly potent form of influence. When audiences are repeatedly exposed to occult imagery through entertainment that's been algorithmically selected to maximize psychological impact, it represents a form of mass programming that operates below the level of conscious awareness. Understanding these technological aspects of industry control is essential for anyone seeking to understand how modern entertainment shapes public consciousness. So, the combination of traditional occult symbolism with cutting edge surveillance and manipulation technology creates unprecedented opportunities for social control and cultural programming. But the technological control system is just one part of a global network because the patterns we've documented in American entertainment aren't limited to Hollywood or the US music industry. They are they're worldwide, suggesting a level of coordination that transcends national boundaries. So the occult symbolism and control mechanisms again that we've documented in American entertainment aren't isolated phenomena. Similar patterns in entertainment industries happen worldwide. So let's look at K-pop
Okay.
as an example. In South Korea, they provide a clear, very clear example of how these patterns manifest internationally. K-pop groups routinely incorporate occult symbolism into their music videos, stage performances, and promotional materials. The imagery includes the same elements we see in Western entertainment: the all-seeing eye, pyramid symbolism, black and white dualism, and references to ancient mystical religions.
That's not even their culture in
Nope,
Korea.
but they're doing it.
Uh,
All of them. Like the fair majority of the big ones, they all do it. What makes this K-pop example particularly significant is the industry's well-documented control mechanisms. So K-pop trainees, I don't know if you know this, they get trained to become these groups.
I believe it.
They sign contracts that give entertainment companies unprecedented control over their lives, including restrictions on dating, social media usage, and public statements. The training process itself has been described as a form of psychological conditioning designed to create completely compliant performers. And the suicide rate among K-pop performers is significantly higher than the general population, with several high-profile deaths in recent years raising questions about industry pressures and control mechanisms. So the deaths of Jung from Shinji, Sully from FX,
Who
and
can forget?
yeah, exactly, and Guhara from Kara all involved young performers who had spoken about industry pressures and mental health struggles.
Ugh.
BTS, one of the most popular K-pop groups worldwide, has been at the center of many occult accusations. Their music video for Blood, Sweat, and Tears has been particularly scrutinized for its use of religious imagery, including a replica of Michelangelo's Pieta and scenes interpreted as references to the Last Supper. Some fans and conspiracy theorists claim to have found evidence of occult symbolism in other BTS videos like Boy Meets Evil and On. Blackpink, another globally successful K-pop group, has also faced similar accusations. Their use of black and white checkerboard patterns in their visuals has been interpreted by some as secret society symbolism representing separation and division. The group's rapid rise to international stardom has been seen by some as evidence of backing from powerful occult forces. The global success of K-pop has only intensified these theories, with some viewing it as part of a larger plan for world cultural domination.
That's my big thought of this.
Yes.
Because for anyone out there is like, oh, a checkerboard. Who cares? Like, okay, fine. But again, I'll go back to why is it always one way?
Yes. Why are they all doing it?
Why are they all doing the same thing? Yeah.
Especially when you go to other cultures that isn't part of their culture,
Yeah.
but they're doing it anyway.
And the gaslighting, the thing about the Last Supper reminds me of the Olympic thing.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
and it's always gaslighting, dude. That's a perfect example.
Yes.
That's a perfect example of you say like Lady Gaga did something satanic or Lil Nas X did something satanic, and they're like, oh, it's just art, it's just entertainment. When they did that Last Supper at the Olympics, they denied that that's what it is.
Yep.
And then the freaking script called it the scene on the scene, which is like literally a play on words because the scene is the word for the Last Supper because it's Michelangelo's scene, and then the scene is the river they were, and it's like it was literally called the Last Supper on the river.
Yep.
Through a play of words, and then when they got called out for it, it's like you're a religious fanatic, you're a fundamentalist Christian. We weren't even doing that. You're being hateful, and it's like why does anti-Christian imagery have to be incorporated in everything down to Korea?
Yep.
Korea.
Yep.
Do some like yin yang stuff. I don't know. I do know that there actually is a large Christian culture in
There
Korea.
is.
Yeah. The neon crosses.
But why is it always Christian
It's
stuff?
always toward.
Why isn't it Hindu stuff? Why aren't they going after Muhammad?
It's always anti-Christian is the defined global culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the synchronized nature of K-pop's international expansion combined with consistent occult symbolism across different groups suggests a level of coordination that goes beyond normal business planning. European entertainment industry, they show similar patterns. So the Eurovision Song Contest, watched by hundreds of millions of people across Europe, has increasingly featured performances with explicit occult symbolism. The staging, the costumes, the themes consistently incorporate elements that align with secret society imagery and occult practices. British entertainment has a long history of occult connections, dating back to figures like Aleister Crowley and continuing through modern artists like David Bowie, Led Zeppelin, and more recent acts. The BBC, Britain's national broadcaster, has been accused of promoting occult themes through its programming, particularly in children's shows that introduce young viewers to witchcraft and supernatural themes. Bollywood India's massive film industry has not escaped these patterns either. The use of elaborate dance numbers and mystical themes in Bollywood films has been interpreted by some as occult rituals disguised as entertainment. Prominent Bollywood stars have been accused of secret society membership, with their gestures and film roles scrutinized for hidden messages. Shah Rukh Khan, as we all know, one of Bollywood's biggest stars,
Our favorite star.
that's right, has been alleged to be connected to these networks. His immense success and influence in the industry have been cited as proof of supernatural backing. Similarly, other successful Bollywood figures have faced similar accusations, with conspiracy theorists analyzing their hand gestures, symbolic imagery in their films, and career trajectories for signs of occult influence. Like again, they all like the one hand over the eye is a very common one, and you can like
Weird.
yeah, it's the
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
it's and you can find like collages of just like hundreds of celebrities that have done this.
See, for me, I'm kind of this weird fascination with like Hinduism. So like I'm inclined to give them a pass because it's such a complicated culture, you know what I mean? But like that to me is like Illuminati.
Yes.
Straight up. So like what's that doing in a Bollywood movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're
Unless it's a
connected.
global.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The global nature of these patterns suggests coordination at a level that transcends national boundaries. International entertainment conglomerates, global streaming platforms, and multinational record labels create opportunities for coordinated messaging and symbolic programming across different cultures and languages. The financial connections between entertainment industries worldwide also support the theory of coordinated control. Major investment firms and financial institutions have significant stakes in entertainment companies across multiple countries, creating opportunities for unified direction and messaging. From a biblical perspective, this global coordination aligns with prophecies about end time deception and the establishment of a world system of control. The entertainment industry's role in creating a unified global culture that promotes occult themes and undermines traditional religious values fits the pattern described in biblical prophecies about the last days. The challenge for audiences is recognizing that the entertainment they consume is a part of a global system designed to influence their beliefs and behavior. Understanding the international scope of these patterns is essential for developing discernment about the spiritual and cultural forces operating through modern entertainment. And here's what makes this global coordination particularly concerning. It suggests a level of organization and planning that goes beyond simple business interests or cultural trends. When the same symbolic themes and control mechanisms appear consistently across different countries, cultures, and languages, it indicates a coordinated effort to shape global consciousness and control and cultures.
Mm-hmm.
But understanding the global scope of the system raises an even more fundamental question. What's the ultimate goal? What are these puppet masters trying to achieve through their control of global entertainment? And why are they so committed to promoting occult themes and undermining traditional religious values? One of the most disturbing theories about the entertainment industry's occult connections involves the concept of energy harvesting. The belief that mass entertainment events are actually rituals designed to collect spiritual energy from audiences for nefarious purposes. This theory gained significant traction after the 2021 Travis Scott Astroworld Festival
Did we
tragedy.
not talk about this last
We
time?
have no.
Talk about how he was still performing while there was.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we did. We did touch on it. Yeah. So 10 people died, hundreds were injured during that crowd surge.
A lot of loosh.
Yeah. But it wasn't just the deaths that fueled the conspiracy theories. It was the circumstances surrounding the event and Scott's response to the tragedy. The festival's entrance was designed as a giant head, as we did talk about, that attendees walked through, with promotional materials featuring the phrase, "See you on the other side."
Yeah.
The stage design incorporated imagery that conspiracy theorists interpreted as occult symbolism, including what appeared to be a portal or gateway. Most disturbing of all was Scott's performance continued as people were dying in the crowd, so he just kept going.
Right.
According to Facebook, the topic Astroworld Sacrifice was trending with 39,000 users discussing it in the days following the tragedy. And as we talked about, one TikTok user with 20,000 followers claimed, "We're all suffocating, dying, and on the screen it says, 'See you on the other side,' along with all the Illuminati symbols and the praying hands sucking our energy from us." But the energy harvesting theory extends far beyond just the Astroworld tragedy. Conspiracy theorists point to various aspects of modern concerts and festivals that they interpret as ritualistic elements designed to harvest energy from audiences. Large music festivals often feature stage designs that incorporate pyramid shapes, all-seeing eye imagery, and other occult symbols. The positioning of these symbols isn't random either. They're placed in locations where they'll be most visible to the largest number of people, creating what theorists describe as mass ritual participation. Because again, as long as you're not fighting against it, if you're there and you're willing,
Yeah.
even if you don't fully understand it, that counts as participation. So the synchronized movements of crowds during concerts is seen as another form of ritual participation. When thousands of people move in unison, raise their hands together, or chant lyrics simultaneously, it creates what some describe as collective energy that can be harvested and directed.
Well, what do you call it when a mega church does it? It's clearly a ritual.
Yes. Yes.
It's clearly, yeah.
When any church
some
does
form
it,
of worship. Yeah.
it's worship.
Yeah. So why would it be any different?
That's what you call it when somebody's raising their hands in a church, is they're worshiping.
Right.
It's what are
if
you
you had
worshiping?
500 people in a church and then they're on stage and then you're singing along to and then you take a Katy Perry concert and you're saying I kissed that girl and
Yep.
there's how can you, unless you just do not believe that we have like another dimension to us and that there's not energy to be harvested and which there clearly is.
But if it is real, you're still participating in that energy.
It's still
is
taking
still
your
there.
energy. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Beyonce's concerts have been particularly scrutinized for alleged energy harvesting activities. During her Renaissance tour, there were moments where she appeared to call for energy from the crowd in ways that some interpreted as ritualistic gathering of power. During her performance of Alien Superstar, which
Okay.
she stands with her arms outstretched, seeming to draw energy from the audience in a pose that resembles occult energy manipulation techniques. The use of specific lighting, sound frequencies, and visual effects at concerts is also seen as part of the energy harvesting process. Certain frequencies and light patterns can induce altered states of consciousness, making audiences more susceptible to spiritual manipulation. And I think we talked about this last episode with people that went to Taylor Swift concerts that
They couldn't remember.
they could not remember it.
Yeah.
The strobe lights, bass frequencies, and synchronized visual effects common at modern concerts create conditions that some believe facilitate energy extraction. Virtual concerts and digital events have introduced new possibilities for energy harvesting. When millions of people participate in virtual events simultaneously, it creates opportunities for mass ritual participation on an unprecedented scale. The shared virtual space, combined with synchronized activities and symbolic imagery, could potentially be used to harvest energy from participants who don't even realize they're participating in a ritual. Social media trends and viral challenges are also viewed through this lens. When millions of people participate in the same activity simultaneously, whether it's a dance challenge, a hashtag campaign, or a viral trend, it creates what theorists describe as a distributed ritual participation. The collective energy generated by these mass participation events could potentially be harvested and directed by those who understand how to manipulate these systems. So the timing of major entertainment events is also seen as significant. Many large concerts and festivals are scheduled to coincide with specific dates that have occult significance, such as solstices, equinoxes, and other dates that are important in occult calendars.
That's something I got to start paying attention to.
It does happen a lot.
Interesting.
A lot of stuff, a lot of moon phase stuff. Like there's a lot of that. The timing doesn't seem to be coincidental, according to theorists, but it's designed to maximize the spiritual harvesting the spiritual energy that can be harvested from such events. So the energy harvesting theory explains why the entertainment industry is so committed to promoting occult themes and imagery. If these events are indeed designed to harvest spiritual energy, then the occult symbolism serves a functional purpose. It creates a spiritual condition necessary for energy extraction to actually occur.
Yeah, like a direction for it to flow.
Yeah. From a biblical perspective, the energy harvesting theory aligns with warnings about spiritual deception and the manipulation of human souls. The Bible warns about spiritual forces that seek to steal, kill, and destroy, and the concept of harvesting human spiritual energy fits this pattern of spiritual predation.
I mean, it makes sense, just kind of like the church thing we were talking about. That for anything, for a sporting event, okay, like so much of the universe is energy and intention, and
Mm-hmm.
I think almost anybody who's not like a strict atheist like knows that. And so if you're not a strict materialist, like, okay, so you have something like a sporting event, it's like a wash, it's like a neutral, it's
Yep.
like a but and even if you have just a normal concert and you're up there singing "Bye Bye Miss American Pie" or something, it's kind of like, okay, there's energy going this way, but like you put a big pyramid here with an all-seeing eye, or you put like a Baphomet image here,
Mm-hmm.
well, then what is that's you're creating the conditions of worship,
Yes.
even if you don't know you're doing it.
Yeah. So, whether or not specific energy harvesting theories are accurate, they reflect a genuine concern about the spiritual implications of mass entertainment events. When millions of people gather to participate in events that feature occult symbolism and ritualistic elements, it creates spiritual conditions that deserve serious consideration and discernment. But the energy harvesting theory is just one piece of a larger puzzle. Because if there really is a coordinated global effort to control the entertainment industry and harvest spiritual energy from audiences, then we need to talk about the fundamental question: what's the ultimate goal?
Yeah.
What are these forces trying to achieve? And how does it all connect to a bigger picture of spiritual warfare and biblical prophecy? So we've identified the puppet masters, figures like Marina Abramović and Michelle Lamy, who serve as handlers and introducers of occult practices to celebrities. We've explored the sophisticated technological systems used to monitor and control both entertainers and audiences. We've documented how these patterns appear globally, suggesting coordination that transcends natural boundaries. And we've examined the disturbing theory that mass entertainment events serve as energy harvesting rituals. But all this raises the fundamental question: why? What's the ultimate agenda behind the global system of the entertainment controls? Because if you have the power to influence the beliefs and behaviors of billions of people through entertainment, if you can harvest spiritual energy from mass events, if you can coordinate occult messaging across different countries and cultures, what are you trying to accomplish? The handlers we've discussed tonight aren't operating independently. The technological systems aren't being developed in isolation. Global coordination isn't happening by accident. There's a purpose behind all of this, an ultimate goal that connects all these different elements into a coherent strategy. And that purpose goes far beyond just making money or gaining fame. We're talking about something much more fundamental, something that touches on the very nature of human consciousness, spiritual reality, and the cosmic battle between good and evil that's been raging since the beginning of time. The entertainment industry's role in promoting occult themes, undermining traditional religious values, and normalizing spiritual darkness isn't just cultural programming, it's preparation. Preparation for something bigger that's coming. Something that requires a population that's been spiritually conditioned to accept what would have been unthinkable just generations ago. So, what is the ultimate agenda? How does it connect to biblical prophecy in the end times? What role does the entertainment industry play in preparing the world for what's coming? And most importantly, what does this mean for you and your family?
It's allegiance to the beast system, because I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it, but there, because it's a cliche. But when toward the end there, I couldn't help but think of certain rallies that were happening in the 1930s and what the end result of those were, of all these people pushing their energy into this. And
then they escaped to Argentina.
yeah, and it's clear that what you're doing, in my mind, well, I'm sure this is a build up to part 3, right?
There is going to be a part 3.
Okay.
This is all a build up. We're wrapping it up right now.
So, to me, though, it's becoming pretty clear that you make a deal.
Mhm.
You make a deal. I'll use my talent and I'll give you control over me to give me money, fame.
Mhm.
You can control whatever you want, and then in exchange, what am I giving back to you? I'm giving you these performances that are used, which you have these advisors like Abramović or Lammy or whatever her name was, Manny, Nanny, and Lammy, and
Michelle.
and at my things, I'll let you turn my things in exchange for this fame and fortune. All these people yelling my name. I'll let you put the altar on stage or the thing on stage. I'll let you put the beat. I'll let you put the binaural beat in there, and then in exchange for my money and talents, I'm setting the stage for you to get this energy, and the end result can only be the corruption of the people in the crowd, because you've already got that person. You've already got the Beyonce. You gave her mansion and all that stuff, and now in exchange, she's going to give you millions of other people who will be obedient to the system. That's my take.
Yeah.
All right, but I'm sure it'll be more complex.
Oh, there's more coming.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
So next time on Cryptic Accounts, we're going to answer all these questions. We're going to explore the financial networks that fund this global system. We're going to examine the insider testimonies from people who've seen this agenda firsthand. We're going to connect these patterns to biblical warnings about spiritual warfare and end times deception. And we're going to discuss what you can do to protect yourself and your loved ones from these influences. Because understanding the puppet masters and their methods is important, but understanding their ultimate agenda, that's what will determine whether you're prepared for what's coming. And what's coming is bigger than most people can imagine.
Oh dear.
So yeah, that's our part 2.
Great job.
Man, it's again, this is one that you've seen. I've struggled for months to try and put this research together in a way that makes sense, because there's so much.
That's why even when there's times where I'm like, I don't know about, I'm sitting back and I'm listening, because it's a cumulative case. It's this worldwide, across all media platforms. It's a cumulative direction that it's all moving.
Well, and if we're going to do something bigger at some point that is like spooky and does all the things and has all the videos and has all the music and everything, like this might be a topic that might be the thing that we do it on, honestly. It's just, there's so much, and it's so hard to try and figure out how do we do this in like hour to hour and a half chunks.
Yeah, what I'm looking
and not have this be just this. Oh, you could do just this could be its own show, just documenting this stuff, like with none of the other stuff we cover. Like we could do episodes and episodes and episodes on just like really digging down into individual artists and industry themes and what's been going on for, in America, easily 100 years now.
I don't know. Okay, this is Warren Buffett. Show me your heroes and I'll show you your values.
Yeah.
You can't have the beast system without art.
No, because you need it to promote.
You need a culture.
You need a culture that accepts the occult and the dark and the demonic.
Right.
Because otherwise, they'll resist it.
You can't gather a people and gather a religion without a cultural basis of shared understanding. Yeah.
So yeah, that's
well, great job. That's the last thing I'll say.
No,
that's great.
We went off on a lot of side tangents. This is a good episode. This actually came together a lot different than I thought it was going to, with all the different ways we turned on it.
Once again, the 80s, 90s fundamentalists are correct about everything.
Dude.
Once again, we should have listened.
All the freakouts that our parents were having in the 90s, just like, you guys were right. You were just like,
whoops.
You were early. It's because they saw the beginning of it. They saw where this actually started, because if they actually trace this, like, I mean, there's good shows, like, I'll give them a shout out, New Discourses.
Oh, yeah.
Like James Lindsay with what's going on with woke, and not just woke, but just leftist, socialist, Marxist, how Marxism has come into this century.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a frog in a boiling pot thing
Yes.
too. If you remember a simpler time when this wasn't an issue, then when it starts arising, it's way easier to pick it out because you're like, "Hey, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing that?" But if you just grow up with it, then it's easier to like boil and boil and boil and boil.
Well, yeah, it's because for our generation, they didn't front load it hard. They're playing a very long game right now.
Well, we already, even our generation, we're not even that old yet. We grew up with a whole level of like Christian hypocrisy and like all the excuses and gaslighting that like you didn't have in like the 50s or 60s.
Nope.
Like, because that just was the culture,
Yep.
was to be like this. And even if you, I like to watch old talk shows sometimes and stuff, and even the people on there, they talk to a Hell's Angels guy, or they talk to this teenager who loves this controversial band, or they'll talk to this celebrity who's a little controversial, or they'll talk to this union guy and this business guy. Like, there used to be a very unified, even like the civil rights movement, okay? Like, you can't have something like that the way it was back then because it was very much like this is Christian based, like God wants everyone to be equal,
Mm-hmm.
and like this is immoral and you're treating your fellow man, and we go to
Yep.
church too, and
Yep.
like today, if you look at the movements today, which are all based on Marxism, it is not like that.
Nope.
You go to a civil rights that you're gonna see people with like anti-church things. You're gonna see like everything's moving in that direction. We don't have the
Yep.
shared, and I believe that's the, because everybody at different levels doesn't know they're part of the system. I'm not even convinced the record executives people know they're part of the.
Maybe not.
Nobody. I'm not convinced that anybody really knows the end, because unless you understand like the book of Revelation, unless you understand like the Bible and the beast system and stuff, like it'd be very hard for you if you're just like a straight up agnostic or spiritualist to be like, oh, I'm helping build that system if you don't
Yep.
believe in it. So you're just like, well, I'm doing this for money, or I'm doing this because it's like we're done with the old fogey ways. Like, everyone's going to have their own
Yep.
reasons, but I believe one of the main non straight up satanic reasons is our like capitalist culture
Mm-hmm.
wants to break down Christian values, and because it's not conducive to money. It's not
Nope.
conducive to, yeah.
Yep. No, it sums it up pretty well.
All right, I'll save it.
Yeah, save it. Next week we get into the financial systems and what's backing all this and tying it all together. And oh, if you thought these first two were a wild ride, stick around for part 3 because
The finale, right?
it will be the finale for now.
Right.
I can't say it's the finale on this whole topic,
No.
but of this thing that I put together, there was no way we were going to cover it in one episode. And then it was like, I can't cover this in 2 episodes. And it was like, all right, I'm going to break this into like sections. It took a lot to put this together. But yeah, the part 3, we're gonna tie it all together on, we're gonna follow the money on this.
Okay.
And I think that's, as with most investigations, that's usually how you figure it out.
Yep.
So come back next week. Thank you all so much for listening. Love you, Dennis.
Love you.
Bye.